So I apologise in advance for the video. So today I'm going to fit in my Transit on the driver's side a rib swivel with the handbrake lower kit. You generally haven't watched the videos, there aren't any great ones. From all the videos I've watched, the key things are going to be decent set of drill bits and lots of drill bits for the handbrake element, and general tools, and a smaller socket set. The other thing you potentially need is a torque socket for the driver's seat. I've already done the passenger side with the new carpet, which is that bit. So I've swapped from the double carpet to the single carpet. So you can see I've actually got two carpets in there. So we're going to remove the driver's seat and lower that handbrake, and then we're going to modify the handbrake bracket to lower that. I'm going to try and do it without removing the bulkhead, because I'm having all the windows done in the back, and I don't want all the iron filings coming into the cab. So we shall see what happens. I'll take a load of stills, and if there's obvious bits that need help, but the main challenge is going to be rethreading all the electrics. But I say I'll film the bits that might cause people issues when they're doing it themselves. So step one, we're going to remove the driver's seat. So you need to remove this cover here that covers the seat belt thing. There's a Torx bolt underneath that, so we'll pop that off, and then put the seat all the way back, and there's a Torx bolt there, Torx bolt over there, and then you slide the seat all the way forward, and there's two Torx bolts at the back. Obviously it's far easier if you remove the bulkhead, but yeah, I'm going to move that seat, put it in the back out of the way, and that'll leave you the seat base and the electrics to do. As I say, this was quite a nice set. It was like £8 on Amazon with Torx bits and a 1/2-inch drive, and it's been absolutely priceless in all the conversions I've done. The other bits going from double to single you need to remove is the plate. I don't know if you can see it down there, that there is a plate that holds the double seat on the driver's side. It's got two big things that stick up, but you can see at the back there is a big Torx bolt. You take that out and that plate comes out, and just store that or sell it with whatever your double plate is. So then here we are. So we've got the seat off. So the next job is going to be 1, 2, 3. And remove this bar that gets you to the top of the battery, whip off the battery cover, and then I'll take some more videos there about how I strip the electrics out, because I need to be able to get to replace the handbrake bit there. But because I'm replacing the carpet, the whole seat mount comes out. If you're just making it a swivel and you don't need to replace your carpet, basically you don't need to do much other than the handbrake bit. You don't need to strip all of the electrics out, but you'll need to remove the battery. But I'll give you some more videos and if it's of use. So that's the battery cover off. You can see this is a single battery version, so this bar just lifts out, and then essentially the battery needs to come out. Obviously negative first, but it's fairly simple. That's going to lift off, and I'm hoping that I can leave those battery terminals intact. What I will be doing though is taping them up, because I'm going to be feeding them about. Yeah, and while I imagined no battery on there, it can't do anything to me, so I don't really want to run the risk. And then essentially that battery box will lift out, and I'll start the video again there. So that's the battery out. You can see there's actually on this one not that huge amount of electrics, so a lot under that black cover. So the main focus for me for the carpet is that they're all coming up there, so I'm hoping that I can loosen that whole plastic framework there, which goes around to the CCP of cable, and thread that through my new carpet, flap the carpet back down without being ridiculous. But I've got to get the handbrake and everything off anyway. So you can see then the handbrake is held on, one behind there, then there is another one just in there which you can't get to without pulling this plastic trim off, which just pulls forward, and then there is a stud down there because the bolt is the other way around. So two nuts this side and then one bolt from this side through, and they're going to be some of the pains because from the videos I've seen, you need to drill those to get them off of the bracket to be able to lower it. But you can see there's quite a lot of unused electrics in here, presumably for things like heated seats and other bits and bobs in the second battery, but I haven't got those. The previous owner obviously had a bit of a penchant for fruit pastels and fruit gums, so I've removed about 10 of those, and then there's some liquid there, but it's very tacky, so I think that's something decomposed, but not a leak. So this next step is going to be interesting, getting the handbrake out and these electrics. So if there's anything I find along the way that's particularly complicated, otherwise I'm going to remove the shroud from the handbrake, which pops off and slides up and over. That doesn't look really difficult. Then I am going to unpop those electric plastic panels. One's a bolt, slides out, and those just pull off, and see where I get to. I'm hoping then that the seat base will just unbolt and I can move it out of the way. So yeah, the handbrake shroud just tugged off, and then you can see that this silver plate here is the one we have to modify to reuse that. I've seen a good video from the States about where to cut that, so I'll have a go at that later. And then this is our bad boy here, which is getting this bracket lowered. So I'm just going to go and chock the van now, because I need to take a handbrake off essentially, and unclip things like the handbrake wire there. But again, don't look too complicated. I think it's just going to be tedious. So one bit that was annoying, so I've unplugged the handbrake cable there, and then it's held in on the underside of this bracket by this clip. So I've just undone that, and that's dropped through, and then that is this cable here down the bottom, which is the only one that appears to go through the seat base. So I'm just going to actually follow that back to there, and I'm going to take the whole thing off out of the way for the moment, or at least pull it through to this side for the minute. So that's the handbrake pulled back into here. That's a massive grommet for quite hard to get out actually, for what is a tiny little cable on the inside of a vehicle. So that's it now. So there's nothing now connected to that side of the vehicle, and you can see that all the bolts, look, I've got to remove to get the bracketry off. Yeah, so this should be straightforward. The vehicle's now chocked, so I should be able to get to everything I need. So don't try and undo that nut. It appears, I think, welded, and that does not want to come off, and you can't get anything in there. It needs to come off from this side, so I'll give that a go. But yeah, that appears welded, and there's no movement in it at all. I just used quite a long torque wrench to try and get some leverage on it. So I'll try it from the other side. If that isn't the answer, I will post another video. So yeah, I can't get to those bolts properly and get enough torque on them to do it easily. So that just unpops and comes loose there. But the thickness of the wires here are too thick. So I've undone this bolt that holds this fuse panel on, which is CCP and stuff like that. And then you've got to pop the cover off the CCP and take that one, and there's no bolt on that one, but it should be. Take that bolt off, and then the CCP pushes through. And then this whole bit then is loose, and you can get to that corner. So there you go. So that bit's completely off, and as I say, it's one piece. And I'm hoping I can thread that through my new carpet. And now, actually, the seat base is completely loose, so I can pull that up and over that to give myself some space once I've unbolted the handbrake. Yeah, so now I can get to it. Look, actually undone first time. That bolt is 100% welded. So that's going to be one of the ones that's going to be ground off. I've loosened those other two that you can see now, and they're super loose as well. So undo all three from this side, and the bracket falls the other way. So that's the handbrake off. So that's going to have to be cut off and drilled out. This bolt's going to be taken off the back there and drilled out, I think. Although I don't see why you would need to if you're just mounting it lower. And then, as I say, you've got 1, 2, 3 and then 4 to take the handbrake plates off, and then if you look directly down from the bolt that's pointing at you, you can see that the cable passes, handbrake cable passes through a circle of that bracket, and you need to cut that bracket to slide it out, but we'll be cutting that anyway. So yeah, you need to cut. So hacksaw, reciprocating saw. Hacksaw is going to be really hard work, so I would say a recip or something, or electric hacksaw, and cut that oddly thick and tough metal. So if you can see the tip of my screwdriver, it goes down to that piece of metal there, and you can see that's trapping that cable. So we're going to cut through that really thin bit in the corner to leave a notch for that cable to go out, and then that whole bracket will slide out. We're going to cut that out anyway, to be fair, later on the mods. But yeah, to get that plate off and out of the way, you need to cut that bit at the end of my screwdriver. So that's the seat base out, just lifted up and over. Does make access to all of this stuff over here now loads and loads easier. I can get the saw in there a lot easier and stuff like that. Obviously, if you haven't got a bulkhead in, you'll be able to do that from the rear. And in hindsight, because I've been trying to do jobs around the rain, I'd have started and basically taken both seats out and tried to do it all in one weekend. I've been working around the rain, but I've got a horrible suspicion now I'm going to need to pop the seat on the passenger side back out, which is no drama, but just another half an hour that I don't need to do. Although I'm hoping I can just slip the carpet over the top, or the rubber batting over the top of the handbrake. We will see, but yeah, a horrible suspicion that I might need to pop that off. But as I say, I've been trying to do work around the rain, and that was a fairly quick fix the other day. So you can see a bit clearer now. Look, I've just cut the notch out there. It took 2 seconds with the recip saw. If you had metal snips, actually, I reckon it'd go through it. It's weird. It's easy to cut but hard to drill. So we're going to modify this bracket later on quite considerably, taking some chunks out of it, including those whole 3 tacks, and replacing that with a bolt through there. But I say we'll cover that separately. So that is out of the way now, so I can get to my handbrake, and I'm hoping now I can flap my carpet over and we shall see what happens. Hopefully I can preserve the carpet that's already in there and flog that if anyone wants it. Yeah, that was fairly easy actually. The handbrake just slipped through, and obviously I've got my new carpet here, which is nice because there's no gap there, look, in the middle, which is which is nice and smooth. There is a tiny bit of a void there, but I'll put a bit of rubber under that, and then the new mats I've got will cover that anyway, as you'll see. But that was fairly easy. Loads of room to work now, and I've got about 10 bags of crisps to hoover up out of here, and I'm just going to cover over some of the old holes that I've removed from the brackets. But yeah, good. And then the next bit, is the hard bit, just getting those bad boys off. So there are no instructions in the rib box. So these are rib bases in the rib lowering kit, but there are 3 bolts that are recessed, so I'm guessing that they go into the recess to mount the handbrake lower, and then there are hex head ones, which I'm presuming go in the top holes. So that is those bolts cut off. Quite bizarre. You're going to want like some sort of electric jigsaw, reciprocating saw. Doing those by hand, I think if anyone has ever done any work on a Ford Transit Custom, there are areas of metal that are like some unworldly metal. So that was really difficult, even with a recip. So yeah, those are off. I'm not going to take that bolt off for the minute because the bracket bolts, the bolts that come with the rib, fitted it. In every other video, they've taken it off, but the bolt that I've got fits it quite nicely. So, so I'm going to leave that welded one for the minute and not take it off. But now I need to get these bad boys out, and that's going to be slow drilling. Again, I'm just going to work my way up from a sort of 2-3 mil drill bit up to the right size for the bolt, which I think is 6. Again, if I have any problems with that, I'll let you know. If not, drill. So back in the game, they weren't underestimating then getting those bolts out. So that's taken me 42 minutes to get that out. It is really hard, and then that is the back of the nut. It's like it's almost like a really hot rivet. But yeah, that did not want to come out. And then the bottom one made a little bit of a mess about it. I had to go up a slight upper side of drill bit. I'll just tidy it up in a minute with a file. There's no dramas. But again, you can see there that I had to drill from the other side in the end, and that's the same bit stuck on the end of the drill. I said the first one went through drill up to sort of 7 mil, and then I tapped it out. That one I went all the way up to 8, which is the maximum size. Still wouldn't come out, and then I just came in from the back, just on there like the head with a 10, and it came off. But yeah, that was really difficult. So I'm hoping that I don't have to take the nut off the back of that one, because I say it fits. We'll see. So loads of swarf. I say just drill really slowly. Use all your size of drill bits, fresh drill bits. You know, and if you're not getting swarf off like that, you're drilling either too slowly or too quickly. So you can see again that I'm getting nice threads, so I take my time. But so that bottom one just did not want to come off, even though I didn't do anything different than the top one. So I'm just going to tidy that up, file that up, and as I say, then this plate, it is round I got it round the wrong way. So the recessed holes face towards the driver's door, because they allow then the bracket to go flush against the seat base, and then as I say the handbrake fits on. Yeah, happy days. I'll tidy that up. If not, the next picture hopefully will be seat base back on, and the handbrake bolted in place. So I've just taken the opportunity before I refit the seat base to add the plastic trim. I will, after this video, put a still in that gives you the part number. But obviously when I remove the bulkhead, that means the back of the seat's going to be a lot tidier. There is another bit that goes on top of it. It sort of fills the gap, but I didn't order it because I'll wait and see what it looks like and how neat the patch is. So that's the bracket back on. I didn't drill off the nut on the back of that one. I just don't know why you would go to that effort. It's super neat, it fits, same thread. So just need to make sure that when I put the handbrake back in, that grommet seals that hole. We don't want any water coming in. And I took the opportunity, which I should have filmed, was there is a bolt hole here and a bolt hole over here where the double seat went in. So I've covered over those and taped them so no water comes in. So yeah, I'm going to fit that back on and we'll go from there. So I didn't see this in the other video, that when you gently push this down to line it back up again, this stud here, which is what that bracket for the handbrake cover goes on, is in the way. It's no good to use to come through here. So this is going to have to come off. I just rewatched another video and he grinds it off. I don't really want to scratch the plastic. I'm just going to have a play to see how it's tacked in. Perhaps just give it a gentle nudge with a hammer, or maybe grind it off from the inside there. It looks like it might be tacked, welded on. But I'm going to try and get it off and knock it off rather than cut it off, because I don't really want to scratch the outside. Old van maybe, but not this one. So I'm in trying to drill it out. So that's 20 minutes of drilling from the back with fresh drill bits to try and get this bolt out. So I've just cut it off with a fresh recip saw. So yeah, it's not perfect, but yeah, that is probably the bracket's going to cover it up anyway. I was probably just being stupid. But yeah, so I put a fresh blade in the hacksaw and the recip and cut it off. But yeah, it was good. 20-25 minutes. And you can see I made no progress. I'm actually quite out of breath because it's quite awkward getting underneath there. So yeah, don't bother, just cut the bloody thing off. So that's the handbrake mounted on. Yeah, it's quite neat actually, but unsightly. I mean, I suppose you could cover that plate in carpet. You might not notice that much, I don't know. But as I say, I'm going to try and refit that as per Guy's video in America. But yeah, as I say, literally I would say that the majority of my time was spent drilling out those two holes, those bolts, and then having a go at that one. So just a little tip, before you mount that plate, rethread your cable and grommet through to the handbrake sensor, and then you can see that when you fit the plate, it ever so slightly pushes down the grommet. So it doesn't seal very well, but it is what it is. But you wouldn't get that in afterwards, so you'd have to ditch the grommet. And I've seen a couple of videos where they cut that off, but I'd rather have that little gap in the corner there. I might be able to sort of tidy up and maneuver about. So put that in first, and obviously you don't need to remove the seat base like I did unless you're fitting new carpet. And now I'm just going to flap the electrics back into place, and then I will fit the swivel plate, which is so easy, and then I won't put the seat back on until I've played with the handbrake thing. So that's the battery back in, and it all wired up, all the electrics fit back nicely. The only thing I haven't plugged in is back in the seat because I haven't fitted the swivels yet. Just out of interest, I've added my DC to DC feeds. They go out down the back there, and then in the back of the seat base there's a really nice little void. It's only just big enough for the two cables. If you see where they come out, because I'm not a fan of CCPs, they come out just in the corner here, and then they will go straight under the B-pillar trim. But for the moment I'm just going to leave them coiled up behind the seat because I'm not ready. But yeah, there's a really nice little void that comes out the back there, and as I say, they go straight under the B-pillar. and then they can run the whole length of the van in the void. There's a void from literally the front B pillar all the way to the back, where I'm going to have all my electrics on the driver's side. Right, I'm going to crack on with getting the swivel on. So that's step one of fitting the plate, reusing the seat bolts to just bolt down the bottom of the plate. This one is it's definitely stiffer than the other side. Might just need a bit of lube or something like that. And you can see there that the cable for the seatbelt pre-tensioner and the heat seaters, etc., are just threaded through and underneath there, so it's loose, so it can come up under the middle. And there should be enough play in that for it to spin. And I've just reinforced the cable there with a bit of tape, where I reckon it will probably potentially rub. So yeah, go from there. So yeah, the next bit is, as I just use the bolts to remount the seat, but I'm not going to do that for a bit because I'm going to go and play with the handbrake. So this is the handbrake mount. So I'm going to try and keep as much of it as I can. So having watched a couple of videos, so I'm going to start with this bit, which is the front, removing straight down, preserving that front hole on the left, and getting rid of that back hole down to the corner. So all the bit that's coloured in basically to that line. Then I'm going to cut out straight in, and that whole bit down to where I cut earlier for the cable. So you can see these are spot welds. So I'm going to start by cutting those two out and leaving one to hold the two bits together. If it gets flimsy, I'll put a really small nut and bolt through that hole there, the oval hole. So yeah, that's going to be the second bit I take out. Then I'm going to take out that bit there because it just tidies it up straight across. And then having a look at it, I'm going to take out that whole chunk, but I'm going to preserve that flap at the back that'll be held on. So that blue piece is coming out. So that blue piece, that flap, that bit there preserving one spot weld, and that bit, and that will keep me that left hand hole and that bottom hole, which essentially are still there. You can see I haven't cut the other one of those off because I'm just not going to. And then there's one under there. So I'm going to start with those cuts. So again, I'll just hold it still so you can see. So that one, that one, that one, and that one. If I make any refinements for that, I will tell you. So all the other cuts work except that back flap. So you can see I've stuck to the height above that hole. But I need to take out another little bit on that. So it looks like it's about 4mm, but it's not, because the bracket is like curved. But yeah, you just need to take out a little bit more to allow the bracket to go forward a little bit. So yeah, the previous lines are fine, but just come down from the top there, look, just inside to take that. So I'm going to try and somehow cut that. So I've taken that one in a little bit there, and then you need to take that corner off there. It just gets blocked, otherwise it doesn't sit flush. You'll end up with a squiffy handbrake. Yeah, so it's just that extra corner there. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. So look, you can see that I'm reusing that front hole. So it's sat where it was before, and then by cutting that bit out now, it sits around the handbrake bit where it's gone lower, just. And then it's down that hole there that I had to cut that, just that extra corner off because of this plate goes down. And then you see I've preserved that flap up the back. So I'm really hopeful actually that, considering that is exactly using the same holes as last time originally, then it will fit flush. I just then need to look at how I trim the plastic brackets because like somehow that needs trimming. So I'm just going to bolt that bracket back on now, hold it in place and go from there. So that's the shroud back on. You can see that that metal flap that I preserved is sit nicely in place, and everything else lines up. But obviously looking at the handbrake, when I obviously lower that, it hits the thing. So I'm going to follow the guide that the chap does and just cut down through that plastic so it lowers properly, and see what that looks like. So I'm going to finish it off now because it's just a cutting plastic, and yeah, if it messes up I'll let you know. So this is it. So I've come all the way straight down and carried it straight on and down to this lip here, and I've preserved the lug because that is what this bit engages in. and then I've done the same on this side, but you can't preserve the lug, there isn't space. And again, I finished it there, standing knife across there, you're not going to see that, but that fits quite nicely. And then what I'm going to do with this bit, I'll have to work out, but I think it's going to have to be cut straight in line to match this. If that works, I'll do it and fit it and show you the end result. So there you go, it's in. So I'll just put the handbrake on so you can see that this top bit, yeah, I trimmed and trimmed, took a mill off at a time and mill it off at a time, but there's no way you can preserve the link between these two sides without fully disengaging the handbrake. So the other side is nice, like the lug is in place, you know, it looks quite neat. I'll probably just put a file down that, and all I'm going to do on this side is I'm just going to use my glue gun and put a little bit of a dot on the inside there, and as I say, that don't look too bad. Yeah, if I disengage the handbrake, as I say, you can see there is no gap underneath there, but I think that looks rather neat. And now I've got my lovely gap to walk into the back of the vehicle. So yeah, I'll put a glue gun on that, and then I'll fit the rest of the seat, and then yeah, done. So yeah, interesting. It's now, it's 3 o'clock, so that's taken me 5 hours. So this is interesting. So I've followed all the instructions. I've remade that bracket and fitted it, and it clears the handbrake. You can see it actually clears the physical handbrake, but it doesn't clear the inner side of the handbrake housing, which is really annoying because it's really neat. It's gone back on really well. So whether that is because of the shape of this runner, because of course the runner for the seat is going to sit on there yet, but you see it will clear the outside edge, so I wonder if I can leave that intact, and I might just have to take off this edge. Now that's in none of the videos, and I say the handbrake is fully down, so it's definitely going to clear the handbrake. So I suppose that's the point of the kit, isn't it, to lower the handbrake. And as I say, I've seen some videos where they don't fit that top bit back on. They sort of use a carpet around, like a gate, make themselves like a gaiter, like you do on your gear stick, like that, around the handbrake, which a lot of cars do. So you could bodge one of those, or you could just go and buy one, I suppose, of something. Or it just seems really disappointing that there is, look, you can see, I mean, that's it gone. So you will literally need to take a little chunk out. Now bear in mind, I'll probably pick up one of these bits of plastic from breakers. I think what I'm going to do is pop the seat on and work out how much of that I need to chunk out, because I think you'll agree. I mean, I'll go around the other side and show you, but see what you think of how neat it is. As I say, you can see, look how lovely and neat that is for, you know, walking through. So it seems almost a shame to bodge it now, when actually it's really tidy. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to just take a chunk out of that side, and just hope it doesn't look rubbish. So well, there you go, single seats are both in now, both on a swivel. So there's the handle underneath there, snaps off a little bit, handle underneath there. Now the seat's on, it swivels a bit better. This one is a little bit stiff, but that's fine, so it locks in place. And then I'll go around and show you the other side. So I say it goes in, that handbrake cutting beautifully allows you to mount the bottom half of the handbrake assembly again, which is neater, I suppose, than bodging it. So I mean, I say just these motorhome mats don't fit, but you know, I think that's really neat. The downside is that this piece of plastic on the side of the seat is going to need trimming. So this piece here is going to need to come along. Obviously it doesn't need to be done on the passenger side, but that's going to need to be trimmed, and then I'm going to have to take off from about there, about a centimetre down and forwards, to allow it to rotate. But I'm going to wait, because I'm not even spinning them at the moment, because I haven't even taken the bulkhead out. But I mean, that shows you how to fit it. So the actual physical handbrake is lower and is clear. So you can see that the handbrake is lower. So it's just that shroud. And as I say, it's just a real shame that it works really nicely. It goes in really neatly. But yeah, just what you quite do with the top. And I wonder if the guy had the right idea about not reusing the top bit and just making like a gaiter. And he made like a gaiter out of his stretch carpet, and just cable tied it to here, like you do on the underside of the gear stick. Cable tied it here, and then I don't know how he stuck it in there. I think it was Velcro, and it looks right actually. I say, looked no worse than that. It was just in things. So as I say, that's week 3's job. I've got both my swivel seats in, both with armrests, both with really nice town and country covers, and as I say, it's nice having the driver's seat, European driver's seat, on the passenger side. My wife has got sort of full adjustment, but as I say, interestingly enough, so I bought a set of motorhome mats, fit this side, fit there, but they're obviously made for automatics, because they don't fit in the middle, and there's no fabric where the clutch is. So I'll have a word with those people. They're only like 30 quid, and see if they can make me a set that's a bit wider there and a bit narrower there. There you go. I'll cobble this video together. Apologies for the poor quality of it, but hopefully it's useful.